Hey, what's up? This is Guarded Trace. I'm back, motherfuckers! I can't believe I just went a whole month without posting a single fucking video. My God, my job has really been trying to kill me in the past month. They have been overworking my ass to the point where I really didn't even have time to just sit down and focus on videos. And whatever time I did have, well, I pretty much spent that time sleeping. So this whole entire month, work is just pretty much taken over, and I didn't get to do any of the things that I wanted to do. Because, hey, the Infinity War had came out, and I wanted to do a review of every single MCU movie to come out before Infinity War. I wanted to already have that done before Infinity War was released, but so much for that now. However, I'm still gonna do it. I don't give a fuck that it's late now. I'm still ultimately going to do it. So expect to start seeing those videos coming out this month, as well as a bunch of other videos to come out. But anyway, let's just talk about Avengers Infinity War and what it does to a particular film to come out before it. Because when it comes to Infinity War, it does build off of a lot of the Phase 3 MCU films, and it complements most of them very well. However, there is one film that this movie ultimately shits on, and that would be Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok is a movie that on its own I feel is a very good movie, but thanks to Infinity War, it ultimately just renders Thor Ragnarok pointless in many areas, which I'm going to talk about right now. There are essentially 4 areas where Avengers Infinity War renders Thor Ragnarok pointless. Number 1, Thor loses Mjölnir. In the first act of the movie, when Odin dies in the most emotionally empty way possible, the seal on Hela is released, and Thor attacks her, and what she does is she catches Mjölnir with her bare hand and crushes it into little pieces. So at that point, this is where Thor had to learn how to fight without the use of his hammer. Because all of this time, Thor has been believing that the hammer was the source of his power, which leads to Odin asking him,
"Are you Thor, the god of hammers?"
The hammer is not the source of his power. All it is was something to help him control his power, to teach him how to harness it better. But the power itself is his. So at this point, this is where Thor undergoes character development and learns how to fight without the use of Mjölnir, which that was nice character development for him. And it showed that, he really doesn't need it. It just shows just how powerful Thor is on his own, and it pretty much brings us into a new direction to what we could eventually be having Thor doing. However, once we get to Infinity War, Thor goes off to the site where Mjölnir was created, the Heart of the Dying Star, to have a new weapon forged. He's having this new weapon forged so that he'll have something strong enough to kill Thanos. So he gets this new weapon, which is a battle axe known as the Stormbreaker. So now we have Thor in this movie using yet another weapon, and ultimately it's like Thor Ragnarok, weren't they trying to move him away from using a weapon, just learning how to harness his power on his own? So now you have him just having a a new weapon to just replace the one he lost. So it's like, okay, what was the point of making him lose it? So much for that. So much for that form of development. Number 2, Thor loses an eye. During the climax of Thor Ragnarok, Thor gets his eye cut out by Hela, although it was just some of the most unconvincing makeup ever, but whatever. His eye gets cut out, and at the end of the movie, you see him place an eye patch on. So what it does is it makes him look more like Odin. It's like pretty much he is taking up the mantle as king of Asgard, and he's really starting to look more like his father's son as he undergoes a development to understand himself better, and ultimately he would make a much better king than he would at the beginning of the movie. The eye patch was kind of him symbolizing that. However, once we get to Infinity War, Thor is hanging out with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Rocket gives him a cybernetic eye to replace the one that was cut out, so here's pretty much point 1 all over again. You have Thor lose something only to have it be replaced by something else. So it's like pretty much he ultimately is breaking even. He loses, and instead of learning how to live without, you guys just cop out and give him something to replace what he lost. So it's like you guys are trying to progress him forward and to ultimately, give him character development and change him, but at the same time you are just giving him back the things he lost. So he loses and then he gets refunded. So it's just, what's the point of him losing it if you're just going to give it back to him? Number 3, Banner is stuck as the Hulk. One aspect of Thor Ragnarok is that Bruce Banner has been the Incredible Hulk ever since the events of Age of Ultron. So ever since Sokovia, where Hulk is fighting against Ultron, and then he goes into that Quinjet, throws Ultron out, and flies off and shuts off Black Widow's message that she was sending to him. For all of that time, the Hulk has been the one in control, and Banner has not been himself ever since those events. And then eventually he gets intercepted and he is brought to planet Sakaar, where he becomes the Grandmaster's champion fighter. So all of this is going on for 2 years until the Thor comes along. He plays that message again, and then Banner returns to normal. So at that point, this is where Banner realizes that the Hulk has been in control for all this time, for the past 2 years, as Banner thinks that the events of Age of Ultron just happened when they were 2 years before the events of that movie. So now Banner is scared to become the Hulk again because he sees how much control that the Hulk has over him. So if he becomes the Hulk again, Banner is never coming back. That was a scary aspect for Banner, because that would mean that Banner's ultimately losing himself to the monster within. But Banner, at the end of the movie, he becomes the Hulk because, well, Furnace Wolf is going to murder the citizens of Asgard, so Banner hulks out in order to stop it. So even at the end of Thor Ragnarok, you see that Banner is still the Hulk. And then we get to Infinity War, and you see that Banner is still the Hulk, and he fights Thanos head on, But Thanos quickly turns the tables on him and proceeds to whip his ass from here to Jotunheim. And this has got to be the biggest ass whipping that the Hulk has ever taken in the movies. So Heimdall sends the Hulk to Earth, and then from that point on, Hulk reverts back to Banner and refuses to come out. At this point, Banner is unable to Hulk out because the Hulk is too scared to come out. Wow. I really didn't peg Hulk for being a pussy. Because the Hulk really was one great big pussy in this movie because he doesn't want to have to fight Thanos again. So at that point, Banner pretty much has to rely on the Hulkbuster armor in order to pull his weight and contribute to the fight. The thing that really hurts this is that, well, the Hulk really is only seen in the first act at the very beginning, and then you don't see him again. In the trailer, you see a shot where they're all in Wakanda, and the Hulk is with them. It's not Banner in the Hulkbuster armor. You see the Incredible Hulk is there. So it's like you're expecting to see the Hulk eventually come out later in the movie, but it doesn't happen. So it's like pretty much Banner has lost his hold to Hulk in both ways. It's like either the Hulk just wants to fully take over and doesn't want to go back to Banner, or the Hulk is a pussy and just wants to stay hidden while Banner does all the work himself. And it's like, come on guys, make up your fucking mind. Is the Hulk dominant or not? Because nothing really implied, for all of the movies that we've seen the Hulk, nothing really implied that the Hulk was a great big pussy. Number 4. Thor saves the Asgardians from Ragnarok. This right here has got to be just the biggest kick in the nuts for Thor. Because when it comes to the events of Ragnarok, Thor was focusing on trying to, well, prevent Ragnarok, as Surtur is the one that's ultimately going to cause it. But what happens is we have Hela, the goddess of death, being released from her seal, and she is unstoppable. Thor can't beat her head on, but of course we have to save the citizens of Asgard from her. So what happens is, as the Asgardians are escaping on a ship and Thor is holding Hela off, Loki places Surtur's crown in the eternal flame, reviving him, and he ultimately destroys Asgard while the Asgardians look on in sadness to see their home destroyed. But there is at least still hope for them because they did manage to survive, and they're going to relocate to Earth. Well, about that, they unfortunately were intercepted by Thanos, of all people. At the end of Thor Ragnarok, you see Thanos' spaceship, and then at the beginning of Infinity War, you see the Asgardians dead. Wow. So they pretty much went out of the frying pan and into the fire. So it's like they pretty much spent all that time escaping destruction when they just wind up getting destroyed anyway. So all of Thor's efforts to save his people just ultimately just get shot to shit because it basically renders Thor Ragnarok into being a shoot the shaggy dog story. Because when it comes to the events of Ragnarok, when you're watching them and you see this, you're saying, okay, so Asgard, it's essentially potentially going to be relocated to that empty plane in Norway, where Odin was, as he was saying, this could be Asgard. So, alright, that could be Asgard. So, alright, so that means Thor is going to operate directly on Earth. The Asgardians are going to directly be there, and pretty much future Thor movies will take place primarily on Earth, and we'll start to see Asgard flourish again, being a part of Midgard this time. Well, no, they're dead. They're all dead. He kills them, and then the ship they're on gets blown up. It's just... no. Just so pretty much, Thor, you might as well have let Surtur destroy them because, well, they got their shit wrecked anyway. And that just really retroactively hurts Thor Ragnarok as a film, especially when you're looking at it as a part of the greater MCU. Because at this point, Thor Ragnarok has got to be one of the most pointless films ever. Not the most pointless film, because at least it's a fun film. The most pointless film would ultimately be Iron Man 3, because that movie sucked, and it really nothing about it kind of builds into Age of Ultron anyway. It's kind of treating it like Tony Stark is done and retired. But no. But anyway, the thing about Thor Ragnarok is, on its own, it's still an entertaining movie, but it just, when you watch Infinity War and you go back to look at Ragnarok again, and you just know in your mind that none of this stuff is ultimately going to matter, it just really hurts because you just know that everything is either going to be retconned or rendered pointless, because when it comes to the greater MCU, when it comes to how everything is ultimately culminates by the time we get to Infinity War, Thor Ragnarok is ultimately a moot point. So, what do you guys think of it? Be sure to let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Also, like and subscribe for more content to come, and there will be plenty of content where that came from. But anyway, that'll be the end of this video. Have a good day, everyone. This is Trace, signing out.